wait for God to do what he needs to do in your life. And another hard part about being patient is the fact that we have free will, so we can basically, deviate from that path that God has created for us. So it can be really tough sometimes, and it can be even harder when you're already going through something, family problems or mental problems, whatever you have going on. And, sometimes you don't know really who to talk to. You don't know how to explain it, or if you have talked to somebody about what you're going through, they just didn't really understand it. They couldn't really get in your head to see what you were going through. So, for those of you who are patiently or impatiently waiting on God to act, I want to give you a few tips that I often use to remind you to be patient. The most important one, in my opinion, is don't let frustration build up inside of you. All of that build up anger, frustration, sadness, all of those emotions, whatever they are, they're going to build up. And whenever you can't take it anymore, you're going to explode. And that's just a part of human nature. You have to allow yourself to feel your emotions. Instead of pushing them down, let them out. So basically, if you feel like you have to cry, go ahead and cry. If you're feeling upset, allow yourself to be upset. And if you're feeling angry, find an outlet for that frustration. And anger is actually something I want to touch on a little more. Proverbs 14:29 says, "People with understanding control their anger. A hot temper shows great foolishness." This is why it's important to have an outlet. If not, you will easily get angry since it will build up. An outlet is anything that you enjoy doing that brings you peace. For me personally, it's listening to music. When I want to block out the world, I put my headphones on. People be talking to me, I pretend I can't hear them. I just...
Really?
Yeah. So it's just something that helps me calm down and bring myself back to an even level. For other people, it may be sports or reading or watching movies, shows. Everybody has a comfort movie and a comfort show. So, just find something that you enjoy to do that doesn't hurt others or yourself, and just, when you're feeling all that anger, sit down and do it. The second thing I do is remember that even when I feel alone, when I feel like there's literally no one else I can talk to about my problems, I remember that I can talk to God. This is the one that I struggle with the most. A lot of times when I'm going through something, God, honestly, he's the last thing on my mind. But, when it feels like everybody in the world hates you, it's hard to remember that he's right there. And honestly, I've been in that situation where I felt like everybody in the world hates me, nobody wants to be around me, and it's hard to walk into God's arms and allow him to comfort me. But he will hold you, and he will console you, and he will remind you, he will never give you something that you cannot handle. You have to allow him to do that, though. You have to allow him to bring you in and comfort you. That brings me to my third point. God will never give you something that you can't handle. However, you have to trust God is standing with you the whole time. Another part of that is that you have to have faith. Faith and trust work together to build your relationship with God. James 2:26 says, "For as the body without the spirit is dead, so faith without works is dead also." You have to be strong and present in your faith. You have to build up that faith for yourself. Nobody else can do it for you. That means you have to be the one making the decisions to go to church. You have to be the one making the decisions to read your Bible. You have to be the one making the decisions to listen to gospel music and be a good person and follow the rules of the Bible. And, give me a second. So that when it is time for you to go through what God has in store for you, your faith in God will be strong and it will not falter. Then the fourth point is you have to make sure you're surrounding yourself with the right people. Proverbs 18:24 says, "There are friends who destroy each other, but a real friend sticks closer than a brother." Sometimes people will be put in your life by God to help you overcome situations. There are some people who are meant to be in your life until the end. There are people who will never leave your life. But there are going to be people who God will put in your life for maybe a couple months or a couple years or maybe till you're 50 years old, But, that's just because that's the time that they need to be in your life. So a way that you can distinguish, is this person with me for life? Is is this person just here for a situation, or is this person bad for me? Do I need to get this person out of my life? Is to say a simple prayer to God, which is, God, does this person need to be in my life? And if not, remove them. And he's going to remove them. It's going to be sad. It's going to be heartbreaking. I've done this prayer multiple times, and I've lost a couple people with this prayer. And it was hard. But I had to give up control and allow God to do what he has to do in order for me to live a better life. My fifth and final tip is to trust in God and talk to him. Philippians 4:6 says, don't worry about anything. Instead, pray about everything. Tell him what you need and thank him for all he has done. Talk to God about your problems, then let him take the wheel in solving. I know it can be hard to give up control, but you have to. Whether you like it or not, it is the only way that God will be able to work in your life. God is going to test you. He will put you through situations, but you have to trust in his timing and allow him to mold you into the person he needs you to be.